Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on this 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, because we are right now breaking out from this descending trend line while also being inside this big level of support, sitting from about 62.4K all the way down to 60,000 US dollars. But do not get fooled, guys, because we are about to run into some critical resistance for Bitcoin, as well as about to head into the weekend here, where typically we see lower volatility. So do not get fooled, do not get trapped underneath this big level of resistance that we are about to run into. Let me just show you exactly what I am talking about here. I am talking about this Fibonacci golden pocket sitting between 62,000 and 62.7K. And we should expect this to be a strong level of resistance for Bitcoin. Although if we now do break out above 62.7K, then we can start talking about higher price action for Bitcoin after that, because that would be quite a bullish signal in the short term. I will talk about the weekend and what I'm expecting is going to happen there in just a second. But just objectively speaking, breaking out back above this Fibonacci golden pocket should be bullish for Bitcoin. And in terms of a Fibonacci level of resistance to the upside, if we actually break above this Fibonacci golden pocket, that would be the 0.786 Fibonacci level sitting at 65.5K. Now, before I move on, let me just be clear that we are about to head into the weekend. And as I said previously, typically you will see much lower volume in the market here. And because there is less volume, we should also expect there to be less volatility in the market during that time. So the ideal scenario for the bulls is that we actually close above or inside this Fibonacci golden pocket before we actually head into the weekend here. And then over the weekend, we kind of chop around ideally above this Fibonacci golden pocket to create somewhat of a base. Although if we now see a rejection before we head into the weekend, then the odds of us climbing back above here during this weekend are going to be quite low. So do keep that in mind as a potential warning signal in the short term. In my recent videos, I was talking about this trend line as well. Now, this is kind of the first bullish confirmation signal for me personally, where I'm thinking like, okay, maybe we are actually going to see a reversal here. And the second thing is actually reclaiming that Fibonacci golden pocket, as I was saying earlier. And if we actually reclaim it here, then I do think another move to the upside, potentially even seeing another move back to the top of this descending channel, is back on the table here. But of course, we do need to see those bullish confirmation signals first. Regardless, if I am just taking a look at the 1 week time frame, so taking a look at the higher time frame for Bitcoin, and I take a look at the RSI momentum indicator here, of course, this is still breaking out to the upside. So for now, my expectation is that even though, yes, we are seeing a bit of a wobble here, I do think that at some point we are going to see higher levels for the RSI being reached, potentially even reaching back into overbought territory at some point. And I do think that this will coincide with this breakout here. So basically right now we're just chopping inside this descending channel. And I do think that eventually we are going to break out to the upside. And that is also when we will see much higher levels for the RSI. But as I said, we have already now started this breakout process. So we have already moved above this descending trend line here, starting that reversal process. So here now we are in this downtrend. And I do think that eventually we break out of this descending channel and start seeing much higher price action for Bitcoin after that. But for now, we simply have to be patient. And I think the best trading strategy during times like this, where basically we're just chopping around sideways for months, is to trade on the lower time frames. Now, if you want to start leverage trading, I left some links in the video description, and go check that out if that is something you're interested in, but that is not the point of this video. Let's move on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. First of all, on this 3-day time frame. In yesterday's video, I talked about, well, if we break that descending trend line, I think it is very likely that we are grabbing a bunch of liquidity to the upside here, which we have now started doing. And you may remember me saying as well that I think we can grab liquidity up to 63K without actually breaking this Fibonacci golden pocket, because this could just be a wick to the upside, grabbing all of that liquidity there, and then just chopping around either here or actually below that Fibonacci golden pocket. So I still think that is the case, and my analysis there has not changed. We have simply started this process of grabbing a bunch of liquidity to the upside here. Although if we actually get the rejection from the Fibonacci Golden Pocket, then the 59.7K could be a potential price target over the weekend here, because what we typically see during the weekend is Bitcoin just grabbing a bunch of liquidity to the upside and to the downside while simply chopping sideways over those 2 days or so. Lastly, taking a look at the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today. Yesterday, we saw a net outflow of another $50 million for the Bitcoin ETFs. Under yesterday's video, I saw a comment of someone who was kind of confused about what I was saying about these Bitcoin ETFs. So let me clarify, because they were saying, yeah, there's no way that the Bitcoin ETFs are moving the market because there's a lot more volume, which is true, of course. But what I am saying, and what I have been saying the entire time, is that the Bitcoin ETFs, if we are seeing massive outflows, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin being sold every single weekday, then obviously this is going to have a downwards pressuring effect on the Bitcoin price. Obviously, it isn't the only thing that is moving the Bitcoin price. So these have been relatively small inflows here the last 2 days. But for example, the day before, we saw about $240 million worth of Bitcoin being sold in a single day, just by these Bitcoin ETFs. Either way, for now, these Bitcoin ETFs continue to dump their Bitcoin every single day. I think what might flip these Bitcoin ETFs more bullish once again is if we actually start trading above this Fibonacci Golden Pocket, because then this chart would also start to look a little bit more bullish. We have a little bit of a rounded bottom here on the lower time frames. And then we're trading above this Fibonacci Golden Pocket, potentially blasting off further to the upside. I think in that case, in this move to the upside here, we would also start to see these Bitcoin ETFs flip more bullish once again. One last thing, guys, before I leave off here, I have a free trading community that you can join with the link in the video description. And there's over 1,800 people inside this Discord community that are talking about trading every single day, as well as sharing their crypto analysis. So if that is something you're interested in, either to share your analysis or just to read other people's analysis about Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, it is completely free, and you can just check it out with the link in the video description. Just tag me or something when you're in here, and yeah, we can have a little chat. Either way, if you do end up checking it out or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.